At our wedding, my mom leaned in with a soft smile and said, "We've decided to give the car her parents gave you to your sister." Danielle, standing right beside her, chuckled and added, "Come on, it's just a car." My wife turned toward them with the calmest face and said, "Your envelope was empty, but we treated it like a symbolic gesture." I leaned closer to her and quietly said, "Go ahead, give them this." Without a word, she pulled an envelope from her purse and handed it over. They both opened it with grins, expecting something pleasant, maybe even generous, but as their eyes scanned the page, those smiles froze. Before I even processed what they were reading, I had already caught the expression on my mother's face, one of those proud, practiced wedding day smiles only a mom could manage. It was soft, glowing, perfectly timed, and hiding something. The music was still going. My wife and I had just wrapped up our first dance. People were toasting, clinking glasses. Laughter floated in from the far end of the room. And right then, in the middle of it all, my mother leaned close and repeated what she'd said earlier, like it was just a casual update. "We're giving the car her parents gifted you to your sister." She said it like she was offering a leftover slice of pie. Like the decision had already been made earlier over coffee at the kitchen table. No heads up. No conversation. Just, "We're giving away your wedding gift." Danielle, in her glittering dress, standing there with that easy smirk, chimed in again. "Relax," she said, shrugging. "It's just a car." My wife turned her head slowly and looked right at her. Her voice didn't rise, didn't waver. "Your envelope was empty," she said evenly, "but we took it as a symbolic gift." Silence settled in. Not the kind you can hear, but the kind that wraps around you like heavy air. It felt like the whole room froze, like even time paused for a beat. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't make a scene. Just leaned closer to my wife and whispered, "Give them this." She reached into her little purse, took out a plain white envelope, and handed it to my mom. That's when my dad showed up too, curious now, lips tight and pressed. Danielle stepped forward, still smiling like it was all part of some performance. They opened it like they were expecting a sweet note or maybe a thank you. But the moment they read what was inside, everything changed. You don't grow up thinking your wedding reception is going to turn into a war zone. But looking back, maybe I should have seen it coming. Danielle had always gotten her way. She never needed to throw tantrums or scream to make things happen. She had strategy, smiles, and soft asks. And if that didn't work, our parents stepped in to do the asking for her. I was the older one, the dependable kid, which meant I could wait, I could step aside. I could hand things over quietly and not cause trouble. She got the bigger bedroom. I got the reasoning, she's younger. She needs the space. She fried my laptop during college. Mom called it an accident and told me I should have had a backup. She wrecked her first car, one our grandparents helped her buy, and they blamed the icy roads. I, on the other hand, saved for my own car by working 3 straight years in a warehouse, surviving on ramen most nights. So when I got engaged and my fiancé's parents gifted us a car, it wasn't flashy, just solid and dependable. It felt like the first real gift that didn't come from my own sweat and sacrifice. It was the first thing that was truly ours. And maybe that's what made it a problem. Danielle wasn't used to hearing no. Or at least, not in a way that actually stuck. When her boyfriend bailed on their lease, she cried. When she skipped a job interview, she blamed fate. And every single time, our parents spun a story to shield her. She's having a rough time. She's sensitive. She's still your sister. But that rough time had been going on for 10 years. And I was tired of playing safety net. When I got engaged, Danielle didn't even fake joy. She made cracks about me finally settling down. She even asked my fiancé if she was really sure she wanted to marry someone so intense. My bride just gave a polite smile. Said nothing. But I caught the way her eyes flickered. She remembered every word. Then came the rehearsal dinner. That's when her parents handed us the envelope. Inside, the title to a car. Not a new one, but clean, solid, dependable. It wasn't about luxury, it was about support. "You built this together," her dad had said. "Here's something to help you move forward." We didn't show it off. Didn't even mention it online. just tucked it away with gratitude. Until the morning of the wedding, when my mom knocked on the dressing suite door. Her tone was sweet. Her smile looked practiced. "Danielle's having car trouble," she said. "It's dangerous. You understand, right?" I stared at her, trying to make sense of it. Then she just laid it out. "That car her parents gave you?" she said. "We figured it might help your sister more right now. You too can manage with just one, can't you?" That wasn't a request. It was a decision dressed up as concern. My bride let out a laugh. But it wasn't warm. "We're not giving away our wedding gift," she said flatly. Mom's smile started to slip. "Well," she said, "we already told her she could have it. Don't turn this into a thing." I should have stopped it then. Should have said something. But I didn't want our wedding turning into a scene. So I told myself we'd deal with it later. But later came fast. Right there at the reception, my mom announced it again. Loud enough for others to hear. "We're giving the car her parents gifted you to your sister." "And Danielle?" She laughed like it was some inside joke. Like she hadn't already slipped into our garage the night before, taken pictures of the car, and posted them with the caption, "Finally got a ride that fits me." That envelope we handed them? Wasn't a check. Wasn't a thank you card either. It was a notarized legal document from my in-law's attorney, stating in clear language that the vehicle, titled in my wife's name, couldn't be sold, gifted, or transferred without her signed, notarized permission. Any attempt to do otherwise would automatically trigger legal action and cancel all existing or future inheritance agreements. Danielle's smirk vanished first. Then Mom's face drained of color. My dad took the paper from my wife's hand, gave it a quick scan, and muttered under his breath, "This is petty." But my wife didn't even flinch. She leaned in just slightly and said, her voice sharp as ice, "You wanted symbolic? Well, here it is." My mother didn't react much as she read the letter, but that polished smile she wore, the one she practiced for photos, started to crack at the edges. Danielle, nosy as ever, peered over her shoulder, practically inhaling the words before my mom could even finish. And then it hit her. I saw it happen right in front of me. Her face changed, her lips parted, her eyebrows twitched upward, and her pupils pulled back like someone had slapped her across the face. My dad picked the page back up, this time holding it like it might say something different if he stared long enough. "What is this?" he finally asked, squinting. My wife answered for both of us. "It's a notarized legal declaration," she said, voice steady as stone. "We drafted it 2 weeks ago. Both of us signed it." She wasn't angry. She didn't need to be. Her voice stayed calm, but every word she spoke had an edge to it, like cut glass. "It clearly states that all wedding gifts, including the car, are legally ours. Any attempt to take, reassign, or mess with it without our written consent will be treated as theft and legally pursued." The silence that followed was the kind that doesn't echo, it sinks. It was thick, almost heavy, like something invisible had snapped between us, and we all knew it couldn't be patched back together. "You can't be serious," Danielle hissed. "You're threatening us? At your own wedding?" I looked right at her and said, "You crossed a line when you tried to take something that was never yours." Mom rolled her eyes and shoved the paper back into the envelope like it was beneath her. "This is dramatic," she snapped. "It's a car, not a child." "No," I replied. "It's not just about the car. It's about everything that led up to this." Danielle threw her hands up in the air. "Oh my God, are we seriously doing this? This is about high school again, isn't it? About me getting the bigger room? Or Mom buying me a dress you didn't get?" I didn't break eye contact. "This is about how you've always acted like anything I own is temporary. Like it only exists until you decide you want it." "You're being so petty," she spat. My wife didn't miss a beat. "No," she said. "We're done being walked over." Danielle's mouth dropped open. "Wow. So this is who you are now? You think you're untouchable just because you married into money?" That was the moment I stepped forward. "Just once, just enough. You don't know the first thing about what I've built," I said. "About what we've built together. You assume we had it handed to us, because that's all you've ever known, people handing you things." Danielle looked like she was about to argue, but I didn't give her the chance. You've coasted for years, I said, skipping consequences while the rest of us cleaned up your mess. Don't talk to her like that. Mom barked. She's your sister. She's relied on everyone else her whole life, I said flatly. That's not sisterhood. That's entitlement. Danielle's cheeks flushed red. I'm going through a rough time, she snapped. You've gotten used to other people saving you, I replied. It's your default setting. And you think you're perfect? She yelled. You left. You disappeared for 3 years without a word. Because I needed to breathe, I said, my voice breaking, not with emotion but with truth. Because being around you all was like holding my breath every day. Because I couldn't keep watching you break things and get comforted while I was the one fixing everything and getting ignored for it. My mom stepped forward, her voice trembling. We've always supported you. No, I told her. You tolerated me. You celebrated her. Finally, my dad raised his voice. Okay, that's enough. This is a wedding. Can we just? No, my wife interrupted, firm and clear. We tried to let it go. We tried to keep it quiet. You're the ones who brought it to the party. She turned toward Danielle now. You posted pictures of our car like you already owned it. You walked into this day with nothing to offer, just an empty envelope and a fake smile, and expected applause. Danielle let out a bitter laugh. That envelope was clearly a joke. A gesture. My wife tilted her head slightly. Symbolic of what? That you think your presence alone is a gift. Someone at the next table, my aunt, gasped out loud. The sound made Danielle recoil just a little. You've always been like this, Danielle muttered. Both of you, acting like you're better than the rest of us. I glanced around. The music had stopped. No one was dancing anymore. Even the DJ looked frozen, his hands hovering above the turntable like he was afraid to press anything. My cousin's girlfriend whispered something and pulled out her phone. Maybe she was filming. I didn't care. You're angry, I said, because for the first time, the spotlight isn't pointed at you. Because this day wasn't shaped around your wants. Mom lifted her chin like that would somehow restore her dignity. We're still your family, she said. You don't treat us like criminals. You came into our garage without permission last night, I said coldly. You took the car out. Took pictures. Posted them. Danielle blinked, caught off guard. You think we didn't check the security footage? I asked. Her face lost all color. We weren't stealing it, she stammered. We just wanted to see if it was safe. You used the vehicle without our consent, my wife said, her voice now cutting through the room. You posted it online. You made a mockery of us. And then tonight, you handed us an empty envelope and called it symbolic. Then she gave a small, cold smile. Well, this one's not symbolic. She reached into her purse again and handed Danielle a second envelope. This one had her name typed clearly on the front. Danielle stared at it like it was poison. My mom snatched it from her hand before she could react. This is disgusting, she said through her teeth. No, I said. This is called accountability. We're your parents, my dad snapped. And this, I said firmly, is my boundary. That's when my wife turned around to face the guests, all the frozen faces, the phones, the silence. I'm sorry for the interruption, she said with a polite smile. The open bar is still open. Cake's coming soon. We'd love it if you stayed and danced with us. The music picked back up. And Danielle, she stepped backward like someone had just shoved her. My mom shot me a glare, wild eyes, lips trembling, and my dad muttered something about disgrace before following her out of the room. I just stood there and watched them leave. No apologies. No goodbyes. Only silence where the storm had just been. I glanced at my wife. Still glad you married me? I asked with a half smile. She didn't even blink. Instead, she leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Best investment I ever made." The door clicked softly behind them, not slammed, but with a quiet finality. It wasn't a dramatic exit. It was the sound of people used to getting their way, realizing they no longer had control, and walking away like they still did. I stayed still for a moment after they left. The dance floor was frozen, music cut off mid-beat, hanging like a held breath. My wife stood silently beside me, hand in mine. Then the DJ, uncertain but professional, switched to a safer song, something bright and upbeat, too cheerful for what was going on. Guests moved cautiously at first, like waking from a strange dream they didn't quite understand. But then the spell broke. Laughter bubbled up again. Voices returned. Glasses clinked. But something had shifted. I saw it in people's eyes. Some looked at us with awe. Others avoided eye contact altogether. A few looked visibly shaken. Most didn't know whether to smile or apologize. But nobody spoke about what just happened. They didn't need to. We had shattered the illusion. And honestly, I wasn't sorry. Not one bit. My aunt tried to cover for them. She laughed too loud. "That was dramatic," she said. My cousin muttered about how he always knew Danielle had a streak in her. Then someone clapped me on the shoulder and said, "That was one hell of a boundary, man." My wife and I started dancing again. Slowly this time. Not for show. Not to entertain or meet expectations. Just for us. To take back our space. Every step felt like a quiet declaration. We're still here. Still standing. Still married. Still free. Later, in the car, we didn't talk much. But the silence wasn't awkward. It felt earned, like crossing some invisible finish line. Like the worst had happened, and we'd gotten through it. When we got home, we parked the car, our car, in the garage. We locked the doors twice. The next morning, the fallout began. Danielle posted on Facebook, "Some people value money more than family. Hope it's worth it." 50 likes. Mostly from people who didn't even show up to the wedding. Then my mom shared a photo of a sunset. Caption, "Learning to let go is painful, but sometimes necessary. Still praying for those who forget where they came from." That one stung. Not because I believed her, but because I knew she did. She still thought she was the victim. Still believed love meant owning people. Still thought parenting gave her a lifetime pass to take whatever she wanted. We didn't respond. We went silent. And silence became our weapon. They expected calls. Plea for forgiveness. Reassurances. They figured eventually I'd reach out and say, "Let's just move on." But we didn't. We unfriended Danielle. Muted my parents. Left the family group chats. The GoFundMe Danielle started, called for a vehicle emergency caused by betrayal, raised $108. One donation came from someone named Karma. I didn't laugh. I didn't share it. I just saved the screenshot. 2 days later, a text from my mom popped up, "You're still angry. I get that. But this is going too far." I didn't reply. Then came another message, "Family helps family. That's how we raised you." So I sent back one message. One photo. The legal document. The cease and desist. The signature line. Underneath, I wrote, "Help isn't theft." I wasn't supported. I was expected to give. And then I blocked her number. 3 days later, we left for our honeymoon. We took the car, our car. The one Danielle thought was hers. The one we almost lost to guilt. We drove past the city limits. Where cell service vanished. Where roads gave way to silence. We stayed in small mountain inns. Ate gas station snacks. Laughed at dumb podcasts. My wife snapped a photo of me driving, sunglasses on, grinning. She posted it with the caption, "The man who finally stopped apologizing." I didn't ask her to take it down. I didn't need to. Because for once, I wasn't shrinking to keep the peace. The next wedding invite came from a college buddy. The RSVP card had a line for song requests or notes for the couple. I wrote, "Don't invite people who think love means access to your stuff." 2 weeks after we got back, I saw a missed call from my dad. No voicemail. It felt deliberate. Like a breadcrumb. But I didn't call back. I didn't have to. The silence was already saying everything. I used to think boundaries were harsh. That saying no closed doors that should always stay open. That family, even when they let you down, even when they disrespected you, still deserved a place at your table. But then they tried to steal the table. And told me to be grateful. It's strange what happens when you finally stop explaining yourself. At first, it's quiet. Then lonely. Then free. Truly free. I didn't hear from Danielle for months after the wedding. Not after the GoFundMe flopped. Not after her post about being abandoned by people she trusted that got 30 likes and 0 shares. Not even after her birthday passed without a single text from me. I thought she might explode. Might show up at my door screaming. But instead, she disappeared. It felt like entitlement run dry, nothing left to take. My parents got quieter after that, more precise, surgical even. My mom sent one long email. "We raised you better than this. I don't know what she's been telling you, but I hope you come home soon." I didn't reply. 3 days later, she followed up with a photo from my childhood. Me and Danielle, arms wrapped around each other on the porch, grinning. Caption: "Don't let her erase your memories." I deleted it. Not because I forgot where I came from. I just stopped pretending that place was ever safe. People talk about breaking cycles like it's a one-time thing. Like you cut the rope once and the damage just stops. But it doesn't. It lingers. The guilt. The habit. The voice in your head that whispers, "Maybe I'm the problem." It took me 3 therapy sessions just to admit that I didn't miss them. That what I felt wasn't grief, it was relief. I wasn't mourning my family. I was detoxing from them. My wife saw it before I did. "You don't owe them love," she told me once, while I stared at my mom's 5th unread message. "You owe yourself peace." At the time, it sounded dramatic. But not so much. I changed the locks. Not just as a figure of speech. I literally replaced the garage keypad, reprogrammed every smart lock in the house. Deleted every backup contact on our emergency list. I took down their photos from the fridge. Not out of anger, out of honesty. Why display pictures of people who only saw me as a resource? I kept just one photo. Me standing in front of the car they tried to steal. Suit wrinkled. Tie loose. Jaw set tight. My wife took that shot just seconds after they left the wedding. It's not a happy picture. But it's honest. And sometimes, honesty is the only kind of love you have left. I still get the occasional message from distant relatives. A cousin DM'd me a few weeks back. "You've made your point. Isn't it time to forgive?" But forgiveness isn't a point on a checklist. It's not something I owe just because we share blood. Danielle forgave herself every time she took. My parents forgave her every time she failed. Nobody ever forgave me for saying no. So no, I don't forgive. I move forward. For our first anniversary, we took that same car, the one they tried to reassign in the middle of our reception, and drove out to the coast. No jibbies. No plans. Just us. Windows down, wind in our faces. At one point, my wife turned and said, "Remember when we used to explain everything to everyone?" I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I'd almost forgotten that version of us. The apologizers. The justifiers. The ones who thought staying quiet was the high road. No more. We don't whisper anymore. We say exactly what we mean. When we got home that night, there was a letter in the mailbox. No return address. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Inside was a birthday card. A generic one. The kind you grab near the checkout aisle when you remember last minute. That's it. "We miss you. We love you. Come back when you're ready to be part of the family again." My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't tighten. I just stood there, perfectly still. Then I tore the card in half. Dropped it in the trash. Walked back inside without looking back. Because here's the truth. I don't miss them. I don't want their version of family. I don't want a seat at their table if it comes with a bill. I want peace. And I have it. Every time I unlock my door without wondering who's behind it. Every time I start the car and know it's mine. Not borrowed. Not begged for. Not given with strings attached. Every time I wake up beside someone who never made me earn their love. That's what they never understood. You can't steal peace from someone who's fought for it. And you can't guilt a man who finally knows what freedom feels like. So if they ever wonder why I don't come back, why I don't respond, why the silence still echoes after all this time, let them. Let them sit with that. Because I already gave them their answer. It came in an envelope. And it left them speechless. It's been 3 years. They still don't have my new address. Last winter, I bought my wife a second car. In her name, paid in full. When the dealership asked if we wanted a vanity plate, I didn't hesitate. It reads, N0 for you. Sometimes I wonder if Danielle's seen it. If she even has a car. If my parents are still covering her gas while pretending it's Grace. I heard through a friend of a friend that she moved back in with them. That she tells people I cut her off for no reason. That's how people like her work. They rewrite the ending so they can keep playing the victim. Let her. I'm not part of that story anymore. Last month, my wife and I bought a lake house. When the lawyer asked if we wanted to add any family to the title, I said, none that would pass a background check. She laughed. I didn't. We framed the last clause of our prenup, the one saying all marital assets are protected from third-party claims, and hung it in the guest bathroom. Underneath, we added a little plaque. Family isn't something you're owed. It's something you nurture or let go. The last message I got from my mom was 6 words long. We were only trying to help. I didn't answer. I just forwarded it to my lawyer with one sentence attached. Add this to the ceasefire record.